Bitcoin could be deviating from its past cycles and be entering a bull market before its elusive halving. Is that correct? Let's find out. Hello everyone, my name is J1 General and welcome back to another cryptocurrency video. In today's video we will be discussing why Bitcoin could be entering a bull market before its halving, because there are some reasons and valid evidence to suggest as to why that could happen. But at the same time, we will discuss why that could not happen at the same time. So stay tuned for that. Before we get into the video, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as it always means a lot to me. And if you are a fan of cryptocurrency, I have a cryptocurrency shop where you can shop cryptocurrency products, anywhere from coins, t-shirts, jewelry, accessories, all of that good stuff. I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can get a good 10+% discount off your next purchase. So without further ado, let's begin by looking at the charts. And I'm going to start with this Fibonacci retracement. We all love a Fibonacci retracement, I know, but we're just going to look at it into more detail today. So allow me to draw these up real quick. I'm going to take a look at the last 3 cycles, essentially starting from the peak of the 2014 bull run and just before that. So you all know what I'm about to say with regards to the 618. Yeah, the 618 is that golden pocket ratio. That's just what it's called within technical analysis. That 0618 to the 0786, that is called the golden pocket ratio. Yeah, this box right here determines whether or not price action can be bullish or price action can be bearish. In Bitcoin's instance, this golden pocket ratio determined whether or not Bitcoin is entering a new bull cycle or if it's not yet ready for its bull cycle. And what do I mean by that? So if we take a look at the first cycle where we've drawn our Fibonacci lines, you can see that this area right here, the golden pocket, well, first of all, we were rejected by it. Yeah. And the thing is, we were rejected by it at the 2016 halving. Yeah. Right here, we were rejected and went back down. But then the next time we tagged it, we broke through to the 786, got rejected again, and then blasted off into the new bull cycle. But that happened just after the halving. Yeah, just after the halving. Remember that, after the halving. If we take a look at the cycle after that, where Bitcoin had a move from its bear market low to its mid-cycle top in 2019, again, this was before the halving, this move right here. We were rejected by the 618, went back down to our pandemic low, went back up and tagged the 618 again, and then broke through it after the halving. So remember, this also occurred after the halving before going into a parabolic rally, which concluded our bull market. So if we take a look at the cycle today, you can see very clearly that Bitcoin was rejected initially from the 618. Yes, it came back down to the 0.5, but then it broke through the 618. Breaking through the 618 has never ever happened before the halving in Bitcoin's history, ever. So that is one reason to suggest why the Bitcoin bull run could have evidently occurred before the halving, because the Bitcoin price has never broken the 618 golden fib retracement before the halving. Never ever. Yeah. So why can we go even further? Why can we go even further? There are 2 specific reasons as to why I believe the Bitcoin price could increase even further. Yeah. And I'm not going to talk about, technical analysis. I'm going to talk strictly with regards to the rotation of capital and the macro outlook. So let's begin with the macro outlook. I'm going to talk about interest rates. So CPI data came in yesterday, inflation data came in yesterday, and it came in hotter than usual. They were expecting inflation to be just shy of 3%, I believe around 2.9%, but it actually came in at 3.1%, so higher than expected, so hotter. With that being said, because it came in hotter than expected, inflation is sticky. So the market participants believe that the Fed need to keep interest rates higher for longer. Yeah? If inflation isn't going down to their target, they need to keep rates higher for longer. And because of that inflation data coming in yesterday, stickier, hotter than usual, the market makers now believe that the first rate cut will not occur until the 12th of June. Before the inflation data came in, market participants believed that the first rate cut could occur on the 1st of May. Now that the data has come in, they don't believe a first rate cut will not happen until the 12th of June. Now this is insane to me, because if I overlay the Bitcoin price chart, and I guarantee you've probably not seen this anywhere else, but if I overlay the Bitcoin price chart with interest rates, yeah, and I know we only have one data point for this, but we have to go by with what we have with regards to the charts, yeah. So last cycle, the Bitcoin price peaked mid-cycle, so in mid-2019, the Bitcoin price peaked when the Fed cut for the first time, right here. So when the Fed cut rates for the first time, that is when the Bitcoin price peaked at its mid-cycle top in 2019. Yeah? Where does that leave us to today? I know we have one data point, but if the first rate cut does not come until June, then that means that the price of Bitcoin could essentially peak out in May, because it is the month before. The first rate cut occurred here in July, and the price peaked in June for Bitcoin. So if the price could peak 1 month before the first rate cut, which is expected to be the 12th of June, then Bitcoin could essentially peak out in May, which would essentially be after the halving. Yeah. After the halving is when you could essentially say, if price goes over its all-time high after the halving, that's when you can guarantee that a bull market could occur. Yeah, or it has already occurred since this bear market low, because Bitcoin price action has essentially just gone up in a straight line since the beginning of 2023. So that is just one piece of evidence as to why we could say the Bitcoin price could go up, because with risk on assets, they always like to do something called climbing the wall of worry. And when you're facing data, economic data, that suggests a recession could occur in the future, risk on assets like to perform extremely well, just like the stock market. If we take a look at the stock market, you'll be able to see the same thing. If I go to the stock market and I overlay this with interest rates, and we look at the last few recessions, yeah, so we had one in 2020, we also had one in right here in 2000, so everyone remembers well, not everyone, because I'm sure a lot of people were much younger back then, but a lot of people will remember by history the dot-com crash, the financial crisis, and then the COVID pandemic. You can see that the S&P essentially likes to climb the wall of worry as the Fed and the government face extreme times of turmoil. Just like so, just like so, just like so. Essentially resulting in all-time highs, because this was an all-time high right here. This came close to all-time high. This was an all-time high. And what's the Fed currently doing? I mean, what's the stock market currently doing right now? As the Fed has paused rates and they're expected to cut for the first time, the stock market is climbing the wall of worry and putting in an all-time high. That is essentially what happens within risk on assets. So because the stock market and Bitcoin are correlated, because they are both risk on financial assets, we could expect the same thing to occur. Yeah, so that's just one way how we could envision the price of Bitcoin to go higher. Another thing is, if we take a look at this chart, and this chart is total free minus USDT divided by Bitcoin. So total free is essentially the altcoin market cap minus Ethereum. Yeah, we're not classing ETH as an altcoin within total 3. So total 3 divided by the stable coin with the highest market cap, which is USDT, we take that and then we divide it by Bitcoin. And what you get is a chart that looks like this. Not much data as it only stems from 2018. However, most altcoins did originate from 2018 onwards. So I believe we are at this point in the cycle right here. Well, the coercion is right here. Yeah. So when we draw this trend line, what do we see, or what can we analyze? We can see that we have a peak up here and we have peaks up here. We can essentially see a drawback down here, a drawback down here, a deviation back up to the upside, deviation back up to the upside, and then a draw down to the trend line, draw down to the trend line, a deviation back up as a bounce, and then a break through the trend line. So could a break through the trend line occur? Maybe. But why am I suggesting the Bitcoin price could go higher because of this chart breaking down? Well, let me show you. That's a great question. Allow me to show you guys as to why. If we overlay this chart with the Bitcoin price, yeah, the reason why this original chart, so total 3 minus USDT divided by Bitcoin, broke down, it was due to a Bitcoin pump. Look, you can see the breakdown started right here. So as the Bitcoin price went up, this chart broke down. Yeah. And just like in today, the only way this chart can break down is if the Bitcoin price goes up, essentially the Bitcoin dominance. Yeah. So if Bitcoin price breaks up, this would evidently break down. Now you might think, why would that occur? Well, that occurs because a Bitcoin pump always breaks its altcoin pairings off of support. Most notably, against the biggest altcoin is Ethereum. Yeah. If we take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, you can see that the same sort of thing similarly plays out, where Ethereum has this mid-cycle drop, it's 1 to peak, it's 1 to peak, and then it goes into decline mode, has a pullback, decline mode, has a pullback, decline mode. Yeah. And every time the decline mode occurred from this point right here down was due to a Bitcoin pump. And the same thing is occurring right now. As Bitcoin takes a pump, this will continue to decline. So to ensure that these altcoins break off their Bitcoin pairing, it is due to a Bitcoin pump. So it hasn't happened just yet, which is why it is evidently another reason as to why the Bitcoin price could pump in the future. Yeah? So those are two valid reasons as to why. A reason as to why we can tell ourselves or have at the back of our minds that a bull run is not here yet is because of that elusive halving not coming until April. But as I said, if the interest rates will be cut for the first time in June, then the Bitcoin price could peak in May, which is essentially after the Bitcoin halving. So you could suggest that narrative, but at the same time, we need retail investors to come into the market to essentially establish whether or not a bull market is here. Yeah, the retail investors are those investors who buy your bags up here and up here, not down at these prices right here. When retail gets in, that is your blow off top phase. That is the known bull market phase. Retail investors haven't gone in yet. Yeah, and that's a fact. You can ask anyone. Retail investors are not in just yet. Normally the retail investors coming at the end of the halving year, so essentially the end of 2024 or the post-halving year, so in this region right here, they will be buying your blow off top bags. So that is a reason as to why we could not be in a bull market right now. Yeah. So those are just a couple of my reasons as to why I believe the Bitcoin price could go higher. But another reason as to why I don't believe that Bitcoin is in its full-blown bull market just yet. Until Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, after the halving, then you cannot technically say that Bitcoin is in its own blow off top bull market phase when retail will return and retail will be buying your bags at the top. Until that happens, you cannot say that we are clearly in a bull market. Yeah. So that is it from me today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. And as always, it's been your boy, J1 General. Thank you and goodbye.